For this assignment, we will be discussing the problem which states Carl's rectangular vegetable garden is 20 feet by 35 feet and McKenna's is 25 feet by 30 feet. Whose garden is larger in area and by how much? For my first strategy, I decided to draw both of the gardens. Here is Carl's garden, which is 20 feet in length and 35 feet in height. This is McKenna's garden, which is 25 feet in length and 30 feet in height. We know that the formula to find area of a rectangle is to multiply the rectangle's length by its height. In this problem, we are given the height and the length of both rectangles, so we can figure out both areas. Let's start with Carl's. So we will multiply his length of 20 by the height of 35 feet. Here is our multiplication. So we start out with the ones, which is 5 times 0, and we get 0. Then we multiply 0 by 3, which is also 0. In our second line, we have a placeholder 0 here, and then we will multiply the tens. So 5 times 2 is 10. Here's that 0 of the 10, and we carry the 1 up top. Then we multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and add that 1 that we carried to get 7. Here's our 7, and then we add these two numbers together. So we have 0 plus 700, which gives us 700. So Carl has a rectangular vegetable garden with an area of 700 square feet. Now to compare Carl's garden to McKenna's garden, we will now find the area of McKenna's garden. So she has a garden with a length of 25 and a height of 30 feet. And here is the multiplication for McKenna's. So here we see the height and the length, and we will multiply the ones first. So 0 times 5 is 0, and then we multiply 5 times 3, which is 15, and we have the 5 of the 15 here, and we carry that 1 up to the top. For our second line, we have the placeholder 0 here, and then we multiply the tens. 2 times 0 is 0, which is here. Then we multiply 3 times 2, which is 6, and we add that 1 in to make 7. Here's that 7. Now we have two numbers to add, which is 50 and 700, and we get 750 square feet. So Carl has a rectangular garden with an area of 700 feet squared, and McKenna has a garden that has an area of 750 feet squared, which means that McKenna's garden is larger by 50 square feet. That's it for our first strategy, and now for the second strategy, I decided to go for more of a visual approach. So I decided to draw the individual squares that will represent each square foot in the garden. This is Carl's garden, and we see that it has a length of 20 here and a height of 35 here. I decided to count by fives to make it a little bit easier. So the big squares are here, and the little squares are the individual square feet. So since we have a 5 by 5 square for the big squares, that means that there are 25 little squares in each of the big squares, which represent each square feet. So if we know that there's 25 feet in each big square, we can count by 25. So here's 25, 50, 75, 100. So for each row, we know that there are 100 square feet. Now we can count by 100s for each row. So here's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and 700 square feet for Carl's garden. Now for McKenna's garden, I did a similar approach. Here is her length of 25 feet and her height of 30 feet. And again, we see that there are 25 individual square feet in each of the bigger squares. So again, we're counting by 25s to go across the row. So we have 25, 50, 75, 100, and 125. So now we know that there are 125 square feet in each row. So now we can count by 125. So here's 125, 250, 375, 500, 625, and 750. So again, we see that McKenna's garden is bigger because she has 50 more square feet more than Carl's garden.